Senate Bill 194 by Senator Mizell is an act to amend Titles 14, 9, and 26 relative to alcohol to provide for civil penalties to provide relative to the misrepresentation of age. And Senator Mizell sends up a technical amendment, made the suggestion of a legislative bureau note, and moves adoption of that amendment.
Without objection, Senator Mizell, on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I do have a floor amendment I'd like to present.
Senator Mizell sends up an amendment. It is set number 1715. 1715.
On your amendment.
The amendment is one sentence. The amendment says, nothing in this subsection shall be interpreted to prohibit any other cause of action otherwise provided by law. Basically, that amendment clarifies present law on the cause of action. That's all it does.
All right, are there any questions on the amendment? Is there any objection to the adoption of the amendment? Seeing no objection, the amendment stands adopted. Back on the bill.
Next amendment is by Senator Talbot. They are set number 1739. 1739.
Senator Talbot.
Thank you, Mr. President. So in committee, we had testimony from Ernst Leger, who's head of ATC, and he was kind of not complaining, but kind of stating that with this bill, we're treating different establishments that serve alcohol differently. So he I think it might have been Chairman Smith had asked him, would it help if we had an amendment that treated all of these the same way? And he said that would absolutely, his words were, that would help me do my job better and easier. So I have these amendments. If you look at Amendment 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it just references the same thing all throughout the bill. And it ropes in like brewery bars, distillery bars, all those things. So we don't have one set of rules for an establishment that sells alcohol and another set of rules for some that don't. That's the first amendment. The second amendment is Amendment number 4, and it says, if the person under the age of the lawful purchase of intoxicating beverages of either high or low alcoholic content misrepresents his or her age by submitting any one of the means of identification or similar means of authorized by the Commissioner pursuant to RS 2690 and 2286, which is high alcohol content and low alcohol content, to obtain alcohol beverages or to gain entry to licensed premises, the right of action otherwise is authorized by the subsection shall not exist. What we're trying to prevent is, and take it from me, I have 2 college-age kids. These fake IDs now are so good, you can't tell the difference. I mean, they'll scan, they'll do everything. And what we're trying to say here is, if you get into a bar with that ID, that there's no way the bar can tell if it's fake or not, then the bar shouldn't be held accountable and held liable if, under the other things that Senator Mizell bill does. So with that, I'd answer any questions if you have any.
All right, are there any questions on the amendment? Is there any objection to the adoption of the amendment?
Yes.
Senator Mizell, state your objection.
Members, this bill began, if you'd let me lay this out, this bill began with a clear intent. It morphed into something much less than that, but it was a necessary morph. I object to the amendment, even though this is my Education Committee colleague, because we're risking what the intention was of the bill. We had a hearing in committee. Mr. Leger was there. We've got a very clear track of opening the door with a very clear direction. This is casting such a wide net right now that unless you had been in the middle of the tornado of opposition I've had on this bill, you would not know what we were risking by casting this net. I'm asking you to bring the bill back to the intent, what passed in the committee, leave it as it is, where it affects only Class A general bars. We can always expand it. I would love to go back to the original intention of the bill. We could have that honest conversation and do that, but today's not the day to do that.
Okay, Senator Talbot, you have a right to close on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. And look, I voted for the bill. The bill passed unanimously, and the bill, it's in the posture it is now. So, I think it was the commissioner's words, not mine, that we're picking winners and losers now. We're not. This bill treats every alcohol establishment the same. So if you have, if we're trying to prevent underage children from going to a bar and getting drunk and, God forbid, something happening to them or they getting a DUI or killing somebody, why would we not rope in other establishments that act the same way, like breweries, distilleries, all those things that young kids want to go to? So I just think if we're going to do this, let's do it the right way. And I have all the respect in the world for Senator Mizell. We are great friends and sit on education together. But, let's if we're going to fix a problem, let's fix the problem and not pick winners and losers. I do see a question.
Senator Talbot, will you take a question on closing?
Yes.
Okay, Senator Stein for a question on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hit it one more time with what the amendment does, because it sounds like it would affect every restaurant, Olive Garden to Lucky Dogs to no. Hit it one more time with the amendment, just make sure.
Well, we don't sell alcohol. No, it would affect the breweries and distilleries, not restaurants, but the breweries and distilleries that act like bars do. So that's what the First Amendment does. The Second Amendment we're doing is we want to have an amendment that says the fake IDs are so good now, there's no way a bar can tell with some of the fake IDs that are out there. Literally, it's your picture, it scans, it's got everything. I mean, they're everywhere. Trust me. Like I said, I have kids of that age. They're everywhere. So we don't want to have a right of action against a bar that lets someone in on something that's on that real ID or something that's like one of these high sophisticated, and it's all defined in these sections right here, that there's no way the bar can tell if that ID is fake. I don't think they should be held accountable for that. So that's clearly defined, so there's no gray area.
So brewers, distilleries, restaurants, or just?
I don't believe it's not restaurants. It's breweries and distilleries and other establishments that act like bars that are under that same class. In the bill, the way it stands now, we're not capturing them. And when the Secretary of ATC came to the table, he said, look, it'd be a lot easier if we could treat like businesses the same. We're not doing that with this. And it would make their job easier where they wouldn't have one set of rules for this and one set of rules for establishments that act in the same manner.
So what about Olive Garden, Chili's, like big national chain restaurants?
No.
So I'm just trying to think here. Crying Eagle Brewer, which is a brewery in Lake Charles, this would apply to them because they serve food, but it's a restaurant / microbrewery.
You're getting way technical on me. I don't know what they're classified as. I don't know if they sell more liquor than food. I don't know that. So that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, question on the amendment, Senator Kathy.
Senator Talbot, can you tell me which of those is real and which of those is fake?
Hold on, let me get my glasses on. Well, if I had a scanner, I think if I'm working the door at a bar, I'm going to look at the picture and see if it's that person's picture. I'm going to see if their age is old enough, and then I'm going to scan it. And if it scans, I don't know what more the bar, the bouncer or the bar owner can do.
So, but if you scan, if you scan both of them.
Senator Kathy, speaking to the mic, please.
Sorry. So, but if you scan both of them and it came up, but from physical observation, you can't tell me which is real and which is fake. They both have holograms. They both, right?
Right. I mean, it's and the IDs you can buy on the internet are very, very sophisticated. But again, I laid out in the amendment what those identification forms are, and they're all like real ID, license, all those things. It's not something, that you're going to make it on a 3D printer. I mean, it's and look, you could get somebody's birth certificate like my college roommate did and just took his birth certificate, his brother's birth certificate, who was 21, and there's no way in the world you could tell that person's underage. And it is permanent. I think the problem is more people with fake IDs than people being let in who are 18 to 21 and the bouncers are just looking the other way.
And I'm going to hope that the statute of limitations is expired on your college roommate. So.
I think it has.
Okay, question on the amendment, Senator Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Talbot, I just want to be clear. So your amendment deals with the different classes of license. Do you address that in your amendment?
I believe it treats all the ones in that class the same, where Senator Mizell's bill is just dealing with quote unquote bars, like, you know, the traditional college bars, like we would think of as a bar.
And so your bill expands that in what fashion?
It ropes in other classes of establishments that act like bars that sell predominantly alcohol.
So it's a category of license that deals with consumption on premises of alcohol, basically, and just then expands that to any environment where you would be buying and consuming on premise. Yes,
and again, this is coming from the recommendation of the commissioner of ATC to treat them all the same, as what his exact words were. If there's establishments that are acting on the same manner, classified in the same manner, let's, you know, have the same set of rules for them, so we don't have two sets of rules and they have limited resources and we went into a whole thing on that. But this would make his job easier, and it makes sense because the same problems he's trying to fix with this bill could happen here.
Senator Reese, Senator Talbot, it appears that Senator Mizell is willing to withdraw her objection to the amendment. Senator Mizell, is that correct? Senator Mizell, you withdraw?
I withdraw.
Okay. Is there any other objection to the amendment? Seeing no objections, the amendment stands adopted. Back on the bill, there are no further questions. Senator Mizell, you have a right to close.
I hope you've looked at the bill. The violations go from $50 to $1,000, and they're in line with a lot of massage parlors and things that breach the public's trust. So the amounts of the violations are affected by that. I just want to say this is an attempt to close the loophole we all know exists. And my good colleague, Senator Talbot, I just was texting Mr. Leger. It would have been really nice, as long as we've worked on this bill together, to have gotten that call first. Anyway, I just want to leave you with this. In committee, some of us heard it. We had family members of two 19-year-olds, and it's noteworthy to share their names. It was Brandon Zachary's mom and Madison Brooks's godmother. And this was what they left with us. They've said, we've got to start somewhere, and if this is a baby step, help us make it. And they know we're hearing this bill today, and I just ask for your favorable vote to let us make it. Thank y'all.
Senator Mizell has moved final passage of Senate Bill 194. When the machines are open, if you're in favor of the bill, vote yay. If you're opposed to the bill, vote nay. The Secretary will open the machines. Vote your machines. Vote your machines. You through voting? You through voting? Senator Jackson, you through voting? Senator Cloud, you through voting? Close the machines. 36 yeas and 2 nays, and the bill is finally passed. Senator Mizell moves to reconsider the vote by which the bill passed and lay that motion on the table without objection. So ordered.